Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will solve some situational problems involving ellipses. So dito, we have here three problems na sasagutan natin mamaya. Okay? So let's have problem number 1. So we have here a semi-elliptical tunnel that is 15 feet high at the center and 36 feet across at the base. Okay? And the problem here is to determine the maximum height of the passing truck that is 12 feet wide for it to be able to fit through the tunnel. Okay? So para mas maintindihan natin ang problem na to, let us first sketch its diagram. Now, suppose this is our Cartesian plane, and take note that an ellipse has a center, right? So para mas madali ang pagsusolve natin mamaya, or to have an simpler form of the equation na magagamit natin mamaya, let our center be at the origin. Okay? And since our center is at the origin and our semi-ellipse is 15 feet high at the center, so that is the height, 15 feet, and 36 feet across at the base. So from the center to one end of the tunnel is 18, right? And from the center to another end of the tunnel is also 18. Thus, our ellipse will look like this one, right? So observe that the horizontal distance here of our semi-ellipse is longer than the vertical distance. So I'm talking about this distance. Center to one end of the ellipse here, this is 18, right? Center to the top of the ellipse, that is 15. Thus, we can say that our ellipse is horizontal. Okay, so we already know our orientation, and that is horizontal. Okay, so since it is horizontal and our center is at the origin, the form of our equation will be this one: x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1, right? Now, since it is horizontal, center to one vertex is A, right? So here in our illustration, center to one vertex, this will be our vertex, right? And from that, we can conclude that A is equal to 18, right? So we have our A now. And center to one covertex, so this is our covertex. Thus, our B is equal to 15. So from that, our equation now will become x squared over a squared. So 18 squared is 324 plus y squared over b squared. So 15 squared is 225 equal to 1. Ito ngayon ang equation na gagamitin natin mamaya. Okay? Now, balik tayo sa problem. So here, we are going to determine the maximum height of the passing truck that is 12 feet wide. So para mas ma-maximize natin ang height ng truck, let us place the truck sa middle ng ellipse. So we have here 12 feet na width ng tunnel. So therefore, our track will look like this one. So from that illustration, we can have this height now. Siya yung hinahanap. Okay? And from this also, we can have these 2 points here. Okay? And considering this point here, itong nasa right side, this one, it has the coordinates 6 and y. And that y is actually the height of this truck. So therefore, ang hinahanap lang sa problem ay yung value ng y when your x is equal to 6. So ang gagawin lang pala natin ay isa-substitute lang natin ang value ng x, which is 6, to our equation, then solve for y. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin is by substitution lang. So, by substitution, when x is equal to 6, we have the equation. So, we will replace x by 6. So, this will become 6 square over 324, right? Plus y square over 225 equal to 1. Okay? Now, 6 square is 36. Divide by 324, the lowest term is 1 over 9. Okay? And we have y square over 225 equal to 1. To solve for y, so lilipat natin si 1 over 9 sa kabila. So this will become y square over 225 equal to 1 minus 1 over 9, right? So from that, we will have now, okay, dito, y square is equal to, over 225 equal to, 1 minus 1 over 9 is just 8 over 9, right? Now here, we need to eliminate 225 sa denominator para si y na lang yung matira. So what we are going to do here is to multiply both sides by 225. So multiply rin tayo dito ng 225. So from that, makakancel ito, mawawala yan. And 225 divided by 9 is just equal to 25. Okay, so we will have y square equal to 8 times 25 is 200, right? And to solve for y, we will take the square root of both sides. So, extract natin yung square root ng both sides. So, y now will be equal to plus minus square root of 200 is just 10 square root of 2 or approximately equal to plus minus 14.14. Okay? And since we are looking for the height, so kukunin natin yung positive lang. Thus, for our conclusion, the maximum height of the passing track should be 14.14 feet. Okay, and that solves our problem. For problem number 2 naman, we have here a semi-elliptical ceiling of the Whispering Gallery that is 9 meters high and 30 meters long. So here we will find the height of the ceiling above the two foci. Okay, so the same way with what we did sa problem number 1, ang una nating gagawin ay to sketch the diagram para mas maintindihan natin yung problem. Okay? So here, suppose this is our Cartesian plane and suppose we let our center be at the origin. So we have here the center 0, 0. Now, since from the problem, the semi-elliptical ceiling is 9 meters high, so from the center to the top of the ceiling, that should be 9 meters. So we have this one, 9, and 30 meters long yung ceiling. Therefore, from the center to one end of the ceiling, that is 15, and to the other end, you also have 15. Thus, our ellipse will look like this one. Okay? So this will be our semi-ellipse. So from this illustration, we can now say that our ellipse is horizontal. Why is it horizontal? Look at the illustration. From the center to this point, that is 15, right? And from the center to the top of this semi-ellipse, that is 9. Therefore, 15 is greater than 9. Thus, our ellipse is horizontal. So we have here the orientation of the ellipse, which is horizontal. Okay? And since it is horizontal, the form of our equation will be, okay? So we have x squared over a squared since our center is at the origin. So we have this plus y squared over b squared equal to 1. So we must look for the values of a and b. And from our illustration, it is very obvious that our a is equal to 15 and b is equal to 9. Right? So from this equation, magiging x squared over 15 squared, which is 225, plus y squared over b squared, which is 9. So you have 9 squared. So we have 81 equal to 1. So ito na ngayon ang equation na gagamitin natin to solve this problem. Okay? Now, balik tayo sa problem. We need to identify the height of the ceiling above the two foci. But we don't know kung saan natin ilalagay yung mga foci dito, right? But since we have A and B, we can actually solve for the value of C, which is the distance from the center to one focus, right? And the formula in finding C is just C equal to the square root of A square minus B square, right? So from that, our A square is already given, which is 225, and B square is 81. So we have the square root of 225 minus 81, which is the square root of 144, and which is 12. Thus, the foci are 12 units away from the center. So our foci are located there. So we have the first point, which is this one, and the second point, which is this one. Okay? And we need to identify the height of the ceiling above the two foci. So we have these heights there. But take note, kahit anong point ang pipiliin natin, we will just have the same height na makukuha. Tama? So therefore, in our solution here, we will just consider the point sa right side. So yung focus sa right side yung kukunin natin. So we can have this point on the ellipse, and it has the coordinates 12 and y. Okay, so this one, right? So we have 12y there. So therefore, from that, we can actually solve the value of y using the value of x, which is 12. And that y is the height of the ceiling above the two foci. Okay, so ang gagawin natin dito ay isa-substitute lang natin yung value ng x na 12 sa equation. Okay, so by substitution, when x is equal to 12, right? So we will have 12 square over 225. So si x naging 12 na, plus y square over 81 equal to 1, right? Now 12 square over 225, so that is 144 over 225. So we will have 16 over 25, right? Plus y squared over 81 equal to 1. Now, solving for y, we will just transfer the 16 over 25 to the right side of the equation. So, we will have y squared over 81 equal to 1 minus 16 over 25. Okay? So, this will become now y squared over 81 equal to 1 minus 16 over 25 is just 9 over 25, right? So, next, solving for y, we need to eliminate this denominator here na 81. So, we will just multiply both sides by 81 to eliminate the denominator, right? So, multiply tayo ng 81 both sides. So, what will happen here is magiging y square equal to 9 times 81 over 25 na lang siya, right? And to solve for y, we need to eliminate that square. So, we will extract the square roots of both sides, right? So this will become y equal to plus minus square root of 9 times 81 is equal to 27 and square root of 25 is 5. And that is equal to plus minus 5.4. Okay? So we have now the value of y. And that is our height. Okay? Thus, for the conclusion, since we are looking for the height, we will just take the positive value here, right? So we have thus the height of the ceiling above the two foci is 5.4 meters. So this is now our final answer for problem number 2. For the last problem, we are going to find the equation of the ellipse, which is the orbit of the planet here in standard form with the center at the origin. So the center is already given. It is located at the origin and the star is at the x-axis. Okay? So assume all the units here are in millions of kilometers. So suppose this is our Cartesian plane. Since the center is located at the origin, so we have here the center, 0, 0, there. And the star is at the x-axis. So it could be nasa left side ng center or sa right side ng center. But here, I will just consider the star to be placed sa right side ng center. Okay, so suppose this is our star. Okay, so according to the problem, the star is at one of the foci ng ellipse dito. So yung star pala dito, itong nandito, siya yung isa sa mga foci ng ellipse. Okay? Now, the planet is closest to the star when it is at one vertex. So therefore, sa isang vertex closest yung star natin at yung distance ay 420 million kilometers. So we have this vertex. So from the star to one vertex, that is 420. And farthest naman yung planet natin when it is at the other vertex. So we have this other vertex of the ellipse and the distance is 580 million kilometers. So the problem is to identify the standard equation of the ellipse na binabanggit dito. Okay? So first thing that we will do is to know the orientation of this ellipse. Now, since the center, the star, which is at one focus, and the vertices are aligned horizontally, therefore, our ellipse is horizontal. So, the orientation is horizontal. So, the form of our equation will be x squared over a square plus y squared over b squared equal to 1 since our center is at the origin. So we need the values of a and b. Okay? So our ellipse will look like this one. Okay? So here, observe that from our illustration, okay, if we're going to calculate the distance from the vertex to the other vertex, that is just the length of the major axis. So therefore, the length of the major axis pala dito ay yung sum lang ng distances na 580 at 420 based on our illustration, right? So therefore, we have here 2a is equal to 580 plus 420. So therefore, 2a is equal to 1,000. So a is equal to 500. Dividing both sides by 2, right? Next, the problem now is the value of b. Okay, so hindi natin makukuha si B right away because we don't know this point here. Di ba yung B ay yung distance from the center to one co-vertex pero wala tayong co-vertex so di natin yun magagamit. But we have this star here. Take note, center to one focus, that is the value of C, right? If we have this value of C and we also have A, we can actually solve for B, right? So here, we will just solve for the value of C muna. Okay? Now, take note, center to vertex. So, center to vertex, that is 500. That is our A, right? So therefore, itong center to star pala is just 500 minus 420. Para yung total is 500. Tama? 80 plus 420 is 500. So therefore, C now is just equal to 500 minus 420. So therefore, C is equal to 80. So from that, we can now give the value of B squared. So B squared is just equal to A square minus C square, right? So A square is 500 square minus C square is 80 square. So we have 250,000 minus 6,400, and that is equal to 243,600, right? Thus, our standard equation of this ellipse is just x squared over, substitute nyo lang yung value ng a squared, which is 250,000 plus y squared over b squared, which is 243,600 equal to 1. So this is now our final answer. So that ends our lesson for this video. Thank you for watching.